All right, everybody. I've got a kind of a special guest on today, you could say. He goes by the name Rice Crypto.
It's
We
all
were just
good.
talking about Rice Krispies a second ago. Part,
Yeah.
part of his name back in the day. So, Rice Crypto is his pseudonym, if you will. And I met him through an acquaintance. We both know. I've actually had him on my show a couple times, I think, or once or twice. And this other particular person, should we mention his name at all?
I mean, we worked together on some content creation with Last Week in Crypto Tonight, so I don't think it would be an issue.
Good. Tell everyone the name.
Mr. Ken Bozak.
You guys would have remembered. I actually reached out to him a while back with the whole BitConnect scam, and he was one of the people that exposed it like really quickly, and he got screwed somehow. They went after his credit and stole his identity, and he got he got in a bunch of crap because of, it wasn't his fault, but
No.
that's how I first stumbled across Ken. But then I had him on my show a little while back. We were chatting about some things, crypto, of course, related, and all this stuff. So you know him, and that one of the conversations you and I both had basically was how he's one of those guys that can get down to good or not good, scam or not scam. He's pretty quick
Yeah.
on the ball.
And he's got integrity, and he likes to let people know what's up and warn the community so that way we can make sure that this community stays protected.
Right. So everyone's wondering, well, who's this guy? What's this about? So some of you may recognize. I'm going to put a screenshot up. This site, BitcoinTopia.org. Buy 5-acre, 10-acre, 25-acre plot of land for half a Bitcoin. And that's where this gentleman comes into play. I guess tell us a story, because here's the summary, guys. There might be, and I say might because I'm not sure. So we're gonna use the word allegedly for the point of this conversation. But this land that's being sold here might not be in the name of the person selling it, or he doesn't have it acquired already. So it's like, if I'm reading in between the lines here, they're selling land that maybe they don't have. And I do say maybe because I'm still looking at this myself, but this guy was there firsthand, was actually hired by them. So this isn't third-hand information. This is him right now. So he's going to tell you an interesting story. The reason I'm bringing this out is because I don't want to see people, even if there's a little potential to get taken advantage of, I want to at least make you aware of, hey, there's some potential here. So I can't come out here today and tell you this is a scam. What I can tell you is this guy has a very interesting story, and if I were thinking about getting into this, I would be a little concerned. I definitely have to do a bit more research, but it's at the point off of what our conversation was prior to coming on here today that I feel the need to come out and at least let you know there's some issues here, and he can get into it. So I guess start us from the beginning, or whatever the
Okay.
story is you need to tell. Let's go wherever you need to go.
I'll start with like a simple statement, and then I'll summarize what happened, and then we'll go into a little bit more detail. So, my name is Chris Rice, aka Rice Crypto, and I'm a content creator. I was hired. I'm a YouTuber like you, Joe, and I was hired to be the chief marketing officer of BitcoinTopia. And the conversation for me being hired took place on May 31st, and I was officially announced in social media and on the website on the 1st of June. So, now with that being said, I had to separate myself with this project because in my content creating, I talk about something called practice change, and I really encourage individuals to be the change that they want to see in this world. And with that being said, as a chief marketing officer, I was attaching my brand and my practice change to the ideas of marketing BitcoinTopia. Once I had some concerns and was separated, I had to say in good faith that I can't recommend this project or land to anybody, that I have to have integrity and values in everything that I do. And I was requiring open communication, honesty, and transparency, which is what I was told I was going to get when I was hired as an executive in the company. Now, I'm a full-time business student, and I have learned in business ethics that basically the executives at a company are supposed to keep each other accountable, like a checks and balance system. And that's what I thought I was agreeing to when I was hired as chief marketing officer for BitcoinTopia. So I get hired. I knew that there was a little bit of baggage dealing with the CEO. And I'm not here to talk about him, and I'm not here to defame his character. I'm just going off factual information that's available on social media. So I was contacted by several people that made some concerns to me. And I told him, in order for me to take this position, I'm going to require that full transparency. I'm going to be having to represent you, so I need to know what's going on with these individual situations. And so that was all agreed upon. Everything was stated that was cool. Now, so basically, I'm learning about the project, because the idea is that we were supposed to build a city in Elko County, Nevada, that was going to be like a futuristic city, kind of like Tomorrowland. And the project vision was there, but the capacity to execute the vision didn't seem to be there, and the logistics just weren't adding up. And with my reputation being on the line, I had to separate myself. And publicly, it's been said that I've been fired. So now, when I was brought on, the first thing I had to do was research this entire thing, because there's a lot to this project. I have to understand the political elements, the economic elements, the construction elements, every aspect of this entire project. Because as soon as I was hired, I was committed to be doing a presentation in Denver, Colorado on the 27th of last month. So I had to be prepared for that. So that's what the first 3 weeks was, me consuming information, networking, and talking to people. I had reached out to people like Jeff Berwick, who I was supposed to meet in Las Vegas this week at Freedom Fest, talk with Adam Kokesh, same event. But I'll get into that in just a moment. So when I was brought on, there's some things about this project that I don't understand. I'm not a real estate agent. So I asked multiple friends to get their input on what was going on with this, for what they could see from the overview. And one of those people was a real estate agent. And when I first got in contact with her, which was like day 1 or day 2 of me being hired as chief marketing officer, and she's actually in the Telegram group that me and you talked about, and I've made her a co-admin in there because she's helping to control the flow of what's happening in that community discussion. And I'll talk more about her, but the things that she was asking me to look into was what kind of deed. She was asking me to look whether it was like a grant bargain sales deed, whether it was a quick claim deed or a warranty deed. She wanted me to get a copy of the land contract so that she could review this information. The information that I provided to her was not substantial enough to give anything. There was no contracts. It was just basically records from Elko County, Nevada, stating that there was property owned. Now, so 3 weeks, I spent a lot of time, like I said, researching, talking to friends, talking to real estate agent, and just doing my due diligence. Fast forward to the week of Denver, 27th. This is now about 3 weeks ago. I go out there, and it's a Wednesday event. I leave on Tuesday to get there. The 27th was a Wednesday. So on Tuesday and Wednesday, I'm communicating with our chief operations officer, trying to confirm the exact acreage that we own, because I'm doing a presentation and wanted to mention that information. I thought, because I'm trying to have this project be transparent, and that's very important to me. So I was trying to let people know all the logistics of what was going on. Well, the amount of acreage that was told to me that we owned conflicted with the information that I was told that we owned when I was first hired. I was also told that there was so much in land sales done in advance too, which would have given this project enough capital to work with. So that was first concern for me. I mean, the real first concern was the past of the CEO. But being that I was told there was going to be transparency and that my pay would be in advance in good faith, I was working with the individual and trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. Because this guy's also, the reason I met this individual is because he's under federal charges right now he's being charged by Homeland Security for money laundering and operating without a transmittal license. And there's some talks regarding that he was aware the undercover agent had told him the money had came from the sale of THC oils or wax or something to that effect, but it involved like some sort of drug interaction that he was aware of. So he's facing these federal charges for money laundering and operating without a transmittal license. So, I mean, but when I came upon him, he was trying to defend Bitcoin. It was the perspective I was getting. He was trying to defend the community. But the more I looked into this, one of the things that was a big problem with that exact situation I'm talking about is he went on another very big YouTuber's channel in February. That person was trying to give him, I don't want to disrespect that person, but that person was giving him a platform to, in his words, to look like an idiot. But unfortunately, by giving that gentleman an opportunity to explain his case situation, he was also asking for loans and donations to help him with his case, because he was claiming that his phone and his computer were taken by the police, seized, and that he didn't have access to his 2FA and he couldn't get to any of his cryptocurrencies. So a lot of the people that first contacted me in the beginning were some of those people that were promised to be returned money that apparently had not been returned money. Now, I'm not saying that he didn't do these things. I'm just saying what these people communicated to me. So then the land issue was the second real concern in Denver. When I got back from Denver on Friday, I took that weekend and did a summary of the trip for our business records and got all my company receipts for expenses, because I paid for the entire trip, including a filming of a presentation out of pocket, and was supposed to be reimbursed for this. I was paid in advance like I was supposed to be for the first month. So when I get back after the weekend and get my summary turned in on Monday, I'm talking to the CEO and I'm like, I need to get my plane ticket for Las Vegas because I have to be at Freedom Fest. I have a meeting with Jeff Berwick and Adam Kokesh about the project, and both individuals are very influential and could definitely be strategic partners or people who can help us to make an advancement. And I was told that we didn't have the funds to buy me a $450 plane ticket. So there we go. Now it just starts getting like real, and like I'm really starting to get worried, because I thought we had enough capital to start with, the way it was explained to me, and that all this backs up in all my communication with the person. So now we're at a point where 3 red flags are coming up, and I'm starting to kind of freak out. So what I'm doing is I'm starting to bring people in, and I've been kind of working as an HR. There wasn't a lot of people working at the company. So I was trying to bring some other individuals in to help make this project legitimate and accountable, to make sure that we had the right individuals in place to make this vision come to life. And one of those people was Audrey, who is the real estate agent that I was talking to in the very beginning. So I got her in communication with Brian, who is the chief operating officer of BitcoinTopia, and we had discussions together in a group conversation. Audrey sent her resume. Audrey then had requested for copies of the deeds and the land contract again. Audrey said that she was told that the land contract was being revised, and she asked if she could see a copy of the old land contract, but yet she was never provided that. So from day one, I've asked for a land contract that I was never able to see, and this real estate agent who I was trying to get brought on, not as a real estate agent, that was one of her skills. She's worked as a project manager. She's a networker. She's in the crypto space. I've got a lot of respect and love for her. And like, I really appreciate what she's done to help me with her research, because this is all something that she's doing to help the community. Because when I was first brought on, like, she was excited by the idea, and she potentially wanted to possibly buy land. But after looking into the things and not being able to be provided information, she decided that she couldn't take that role. So Friday, this is last Friday, me and the CEO have some words about some things, and he was upset about some things. I think he was taking his frustration out on me, so I was kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt. But one of the things I was asking him was, are you having any second thoughts about me being involved in BitcoinTopia? And he told me, absolutely not. I just want you to do your job well. As up to that point, he was extremely happy with my performance. My presentation in Denver, he told me I did an excellent job at, and he was proud of me, and that I answered all the questions very well, very eloquently, and represented the company in the way that he hired me. So everything was going good. But now, on the same token, on the backside, I had talked to our chief housing officer. I had talked to our chief meme officer that we had hired just the night before, but I brought him in for a reason too. And I talked to our chief operating officer, and all three of us were having some real concerns. I was not trying to create any division amongst any employees that worked for the company. I was simply the chief meme officer. Within 24 hours of being hired, was ready to separate himself because the same people who reached out to me, trying to tell me and warn me about the person who hired me, reached out to him. And he's in the crypto space, and he's a respected individual and doesn't want his company or his name to be attached to anything like that. But I asked this person, please hold off before you make a decision to exit the company. This is what's going on. And what was going on was talking to Brian about a company meeting, which we hadn't had in 2.5 weeks. I was calling for a company meeting with all the employees because I was requiring, and this is all notated in text messaging and all that with multiple individuals at BitcoinTopia, requiring open communication, requiring honesty, requiring transparency. And this was last Friday. So now, I will also state that I was supposed to be paid the beginning of each month. I was hired officially June 1st. I was paid on time. July 1st, I wasn't paid. I only received half of my agreed payment this past Sunday. So I didn't even get 100% of what I was agreed to begin with. And I hadn't been reimbursed for my Denver trip. And all weekend, I kept saying, we need to do this meeting. I was communicating with our chief housing officer, I was communicating with our chief meme officer, and I was contacting with our chief operating officer. And I was really being adamant about, when are we having this meeting and when am I getting the rest of my pay? When are we having this meeting and when am I getting the rest of my pay? And in the meantime, I'm just talking to everybody else saying, I'm trying to get this meeting going. I don't know what's going on. So just, calm down and be chill. We'll work through this. And then Monday, I get a message from the CEO and a email telling me that, the text message was telling me I need to read the email. And so I read the email, and it was basically saying he was concerned with my performance, that I wasn't doing anything that he had hired me to do, that my presentation in Denver was subpar, if that, and was threatening to fire me, put me on probation or demote me and take away my executive privileges, which I laughed at that. I told him, I was like, how are you going to take away something that I really don't have? Like, I don't have executive privileges. You're not giving me the transparency. And in those conversations, he said, I gave you the transparency that was allocated to you. Now, allocated transparency to me is defined differently than full transparency. I don't know about you, Joe.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of the gist of it. Now, then, like I hadn't been fired yet, and this is still Monday, and my company email privileges were revoked. My company Twitter account was revoked, and then he went into a Telegram chat group telling people I was a traitor and put up a new link to a new Telegram group and was telling everybody to go to that group and not listen to me. Well, I did the smart thing and went ahead and banned him and Brian from that Telegram group. And I was honest and had open communication and transparency with the community of land buyers and potential land buyers. And I've been in there talking to them. I offered to shut the chat room down, but they've all requested that I keep it up because some of those people are possibly looking at lawsuits. Some of them are playing both ends of the stick, trying to make sure that they're getting what they paid for. Because it was told to me that somewhere between 22 to 33 people have purchased, or 22 to 33 acres have been sold. I couldn't determine the amount of people because some people bought quarter acres. Some people bought 1 acre. Some people bought, I think the most anybody bought was 3 acres, which would have been 1.5 Bitcoin because all of the land was at the price of half a Bitcoin per acre. So,
Did anybody who got land, like when was the first time they were able to sell land? Months and months ago?
I've talked to an individual who bought land before I was brought on, and
Did he ever get anything? Is he having problems?
I talked to him just a little bit ago. I can actually check and see if I've got an update because I asked him if he's received, because I wanted you to go over some stuff on the website. I asked him if he had received any kind of contract to confirm whether or not, what I asked him is, as part of your deal, did you ever get a contract outlining a tax deal? Because that's what the website says will take place. And he says no, just him saying on Twitter that the taxes would be paid for 5 years. But yeah, as part of our land deal, as part of our deal, I got land because this individual had lent money to the CEO for his case, and instead of getting paid back in full, part of it was paid back in land, but he still hasn't been paid back the actual Bitcoin. Like, he's just been given land. Now, he bought land in, I wasn't planning on talking about this, but I'm just going to confirm when it was, but I think it was like the 28th or something like that of May, maybe even like a couple days before that.
Does he get any paperwork? Has he gotten anything that says you own such and
No,
such?
it was supposed to happen within 4 to 6 weeks, which is like right now. So, and he's talked to the CEO, and it's been delayed, and it's been delayed an extra 2 weeks, like to soften it up. I don't know. So, I don't know, dude. So then Tuesday, I'm publicly fired, and he's defaming me all over social media, talking about me being a thief, and talking about me creating division in the company, deleting company emails, calling me a drunk, saying I was drunk on Telegram that night, saying I was drunk deleting. I don't drink like that, and that wasn't the case. I'm a full-time student, was actually working on homework, so he's put himself in a bad position with his defamation of character and his character assassination he's done with me, so I've had to serve him, Brian Jung, the CEO, and BitcoinTopia, and his company, Bitcoin Incorporated, with a cease and desist order. So that's basically the gist of it, man.
Yeah, I don't know that we really have to go through the individual pieces of the site. I mean, your first-hand account is what's people are going to listen to.
One of the things that I want to say is I never saw a contract, and I've asked since day one, and so has my realtor friend. So there was no land contract. He states that this is what he texted to me, that I have verification of, that we own 167 acres with 100 in progress. This is when I was hired. 250 plus 300 for sales, but not confirmed that he can purchase, that I can purchase them. I'm saying what he said. And he has a few acres. This is the kicker. And I got screenshots of all this stuff, but he has a few acres on the DL in random places, in random areas, in Elko, and secret names. So random places, random areas, secret names. But this is all supposed to be one location. And all that I can actually see, per me and my realtor friend and all the research that all the other landowners are doing, is 4.97 acres are being owned. He sold between 22 and 33. We're only showing he owns 4.97, and that's
and you looked that up through like county resources and such.
Yeah, and I've been getting in touch with all the different people who sell land out there to figure out who he's actually purchasing the land from, to let them know about this, because he's on federal charges for money laundering as well. And the website, though, says that 500 to 1,000 acres are being sold today within the BitcoinTopia expansion project, and this land is currently within the 10,000 acres of BitcoinTopia. And that each plot has, and I want to specify HAS, each plot has road access and services such as power, water, sewage, and internet. Only 500 to 1,000 acres will be sold. But from what that verbiage says, right now he owns 10,000 acres. He's selling 500 to 1,000. There's road access now, and that there are services such as power, water, sewage, and internet. Right now, the only thing there is a tent that he calls the city hall.
No power, no sewer, no nothing?
No. On his website, all the partners that he has listed are himself, all his different companies, one of which is Bitcoin Incorporated. He is the CEO of Bitcoin Incorporated. He does not represent this community very well. He even has his Defend Bitcoin as one of his partners on BitcoinTopia website, and Defend Bitcoin is his way of him receiving donations to help his legal fund. So
It's all his own things.
yeah, and Defend BTC is about his Fed case for money laundering. And then he's even got something listed on there, Bitcoin BNB, because I guess he wanted to create a Bitcoin Airbnb.
Yep.
So if anybody out there is a really smart person, take that idea of Airbnb and incorporate it with crypto and get it done, because this idiot doesn't know what he's talking about. That's the only slander I can actually be told, because when I say that, the reason I say that is because there is no website. If you go and click on that, there's nothing. Nothing exists for Bitcoin BNB. It's not even an existing site. So, you know, and then you can go onto the website and look at the legals, the contracts, and the rights, because it says that people are going to receive a land contract. It says they're going to receive a tax deal after they purchase the land.
Have you known anybody that's received either of those two things?
No. And as far as I can tell from talking to attorneys and from the research that we've done, unless there's something I'm not aware of, these land sales are completely illegal. The way that they're taking place is you go onto his website, you press land sales, and you buy land with your Bitcoin, and then you send him your name, your tax ID number, the name of the deed that you want to put on there, and your transaction number for the blockchain so you can confirm your payment. There's no contract, there's no lawyer, the money's not in an escrow like it's supposed to be in realty. There doesn't have to be a lawyer, but the money has to be in escrow. That's not taking place. Or if it is, I wasn't provided that transparency. And I don't think me being publicly fired, me being on this platform, is worth him not showing me the full transparency I was hired for.
Right. And you asked for it. In the beginning, you wanted to be transparent, and you agreed. You're doing a great job, and then all of a sudden you start asking about, hey, I need to see this stuff, and all of a sudden you suck and you're fired.
Yeah, and speaking of my ace in the pocket, the way that we connected with Mr. Ken Bozak, he had a conversation with the CEO, and we were going to bring him in as an ambassador representing BitcoinTopia. And I told Ken before he fully took on and accepted that position to wait for me to give him the go. But Ken knew the purpose for me bringing him in. And what I told the CEO of BitcoinTopia after we were done talking to Ken Bozak is, this is going to go one of two ways for you. Either people are going to get behind his project because Ken's with it and people know Ken's not going to be involved in a scam, or Ken's going to end up calling you out like you did Sean Kirch from Clout at Consensus. So it's on you. But I was using that as a marketing tool, because if it was legit, it's great to have somebody who protects the community as an ambassador for the project. And that's what I'm doing here, Joe. I'm trying to protect the community. So I may possibly be faced with some sort of legal actions after this this little video here, and I say bring it.
Yeah, I mean they can try. The difference is you were there, you experienced this, you saw this, you're telling a firsthand story.
And I don't think I'm not saying anything that's false information. I'm saying everything from a factual standpoint, from what I can tell, a legal standpoint.
So the difference would be is if I brought you on today and you said, well, my friend who's there says this, my friend who's there said that, my friend who's there. I would be honest, I probably would tell you I don't even want to do the video. There's no point. I don't want this third-hand information. But you were there. Yeah. You were hired. You did experience this. The words coming out of your mouth isn't, hearsay. This is real. Firsthand.
I really try to walk the walk of practice change, Joe, and I can't have my reputation damaged by affecting and hurting other people, and I don't want to see this community get hurt. It's been hurt enough by things like the Mt. Gox situation and things like BitConnect. Yep. So I don't want to see any of this kind of damage happen. So I'm putting myself out on the line, hoping that in return the community is going to see what I'm trying to do, that I'm supporting decentralization, I support transparency, and I'm a man of integrity and values, and I'm not going to compromise that for any situation, for whatever it is. I could have kept getting paid, been quiet. I can't do that. That's
even that, you still haven't been paid. You still haven't been paid.
Well, technically, I'm owed half my salary and to be reimbursed. Yeah. But since I was fired 6 weeks in, and I was paid half my salary, that technically pays me for what I did. He's actually now saying I need to return that money and saying I stole it from him. and that's one of the things he's committing defamation for. But how do I steal Bitcoin that he sent to me?
Right. Well,
I'm in North Carolina and he's in Las Vegas. How can I steal from him?
Well, the way it would be is, we've hired you to do this, this, and this. You've done half of that. Give us half back. I mean, that could be a case. However, you did everything you were paid to do. You went to college. You did all these things. You went out. Like
I was trying to help hire people, which was out of my job description. I actually sold land to somebody, which is out of my job description. So in fact, I look at it as I went above and beyond in my job role.
Yeah. And that kind of thing, you could, I mean, owe me this, owe me that. Obviously, that could be worked out, whether it went to court or not, of what hours.
I tried to have this thing in professionally and amicably, and asked him to remain professional and gave him the stipulations before he went public with it. So only statements I have made publicly, aside from this, have been just that I am no longer involved, that I believe in the vision. I wish the team the best in the future, but I can't be behind something that doesn't have the open communication, the honesty, and transparency.
Yeah.
So, and that's the stuff I told you. So this here, it's like me elaborating on my public statement, like me letting the community know the logistics and the reality of what happened and why I'm no longer involved with the company. And he can say he fired me, and I'm going to go with that on legal purposes. But read between the lines.
Right. I mean, the thing is, we talk about like BitConnect and stuff. That's a Ponzi scheme. You gotta have new blood coming in. Gotta have new blood coming in to pay a piece of a fraction to the old blood. So when I hear you talk about, they're selling land, but on paper you're only seeing a few acres legally, that's concerning to me. Of what are they selling? Are they selling land that they actually own, or that they might own in the future, or that they hope to own in the future? And I can't say that I know that.
Since you said that, that's another thing that I'm glad that you brought up, because now it is possible people can sell land that they don't own to people, as long as the people that those transactions are taking place know what's going on. Like, there has to be transparency in that situation, and an agreement set in place, which involves a contract that two people sign.
And such as if you were to buy land and they say, okay, well, we have 5,000 or whatever acres that we have access to, and as we sell an acre here or there, that's when we pull the trigger. So when you send me the Bitcoin, we go out and pull the trigger and get that piece of property.
Right.
That would be transparency. That would be open communication of, that's why it's not showing
that would be
in these additional 5
I've never been provided with that information, and no landowner has ever been provided with that information. So I can't say that that's taken place.
Right.
It looks like what you're saying. So the best way I can put this, and without me being put, like, after everything I said to you, like, what do you think?
Yeah, to me it doesn't sound good.
Opinion?
Yeah, Jay Snip says this doesn't pass the sniff test for me. And if I'm just a guy listening to this conversation right now,
look, I want to be with winners.
That's right. I want to be with winners.
I want to be with winners.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, because let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's say, well, that's exactly what he's doing. They technically own 5 acres on paper, but they've got access to a bunch more acres, and as these sales come in, they're going out and buying those pieces of property, and then owning them, and then transferring ownership to these people. The problem, though, is with all this time that's gone by, months and months and months, like I asked you in the beginning, you talked to a lot of people who bought land, and some who bought it a while ago, none of them have received anything.
No
Paperwork,
received
tax information, none of it.
Nothing in the mail. Nothing.
So that, to me, is my red flag. As if I'm the person listening to this video right now, I'm going to think about these things. So, and the way I'm going to title this video is probably going to be like, potential buyer beware.
Well, the other great thing is if the CEO decides he wants to take a lawsuit against me, I say go for it, and I think the community is going to have my back. And the best part that's going to happen is that the courts will require full disclosure and transparency, and then the information will be public. So therefore, I will get the transparency, and regardless, it's a win-win for me.
Right, yeah. During the discovery process, you'll say, okay, this is what I need, and they can't say no. So either they have that documentation or they don't. Or the other thing is going to be, they do provide the documentation, and then you get to pick it apart and say, well, wait a minute. You said you sold all these land deals back in this date, and this date. I'm not seeing that transaction until months later. So you went out after the fact, after these people already paid you that for land you didn't have. You know, you'd be able
And
to build an easy
I've been
case.
publicly fired, so I'm absolved of any sort of future lawsuits regarding BitcoinTopia.
Yep.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So yeah. So anyways, we can kind of wrap this up, and
Cool.
I'll just go ahead and post this video again. This is just for people. Do your own research. Look into this. There's, like you said, there's a lot of stuff on social media, and you know, just
my reputation speaks for itself. If you check out my YouTube channel and you watch my practice change videos, I've been talking about this for over a year. I've been on YouTube since January, so you know my stuff backs up. Other people's reputations speak for themselves. Before BitcoinTopia was Bitcoin Mountain Golf Resort, so just to give you an idea. And there's layers before that. You can do your own
that he did before.
Yeah, there was Bitcoin Mountain Golf Resort that was taking place before BitcoinTopia. Then he created Bankcoin, BANKCOIN, is a counterparty token that has no liquidity. It's not on any exchange, but he sells it to people as investments, basically a security. So I'm going to talk to the SEC and inform them as well. I talked to Tesla because he's using Tesla, saying they're involved, and Tesla is going to be serving the company with a cease and desist order. So.
Now, tell me about the golf one.
I don't know about details. Somebody just told me about it not too long ago because once I was publicly fired, all kinds of people came out of the woodwork. So that group that you saw is not only landowners and potential landowners, but it's also a lot of other people who the CEO of BitcoinTopia owes money to, and it's a lot of people.
Wow.
You've seen it.
Yeah. I've read through it.
So it's a private group. I did change the name of it originally because I created it. I was a marketing officer and that was my job. So I wasn't going to therefore just hand this thing over to him with the way things went down, because I can't say this legally, but when somebody, I want to say this in a question form, I was demanding for open communication, honesty, and transparency. And 3 days later, I was fired. What does that say to you?
Right. Pretty obvious.
So, Joe, I really appreciate you, man.
Yep. Well, I'll go ahead and get this video uploaded, and you know, it's just one of those things. If I got to expose something that there's potentially something there, we'll do it. And that's why I say potential, because there could potentially be something here. It's not sounding good, but at the same time, I'm not going to say that I know 100% certain that everything you've said today is the truth and anything else. However, people can do their research. Like you said, it's all over the internet. There's Telegram groups. There's Twitter accounts. And again, people could also go get those same land records that you guys have seen that kind of tell the story you told, that there's a few acres we can account for, but not the amounts that should be.
We got two deeds that add up to 4.97 acres, so not even 5 acres, and he sold 22 to 33. So that's what that's very alarming to me.
Yep. So, all right, well, I'll let you get going. I'll get this posted, let people make up their own minds, and just get the word out that there's, you know, they say, well, there's smoke, there's fire. Well, maybe there's smoke here. Let's, you know, I'm just like you. I want to keep people safe. Yeah, there you go. You know, keep the people safe, man. We don't want crypto getting a bad name.
That's what we're doing. That's why I reached out to you, because, you know, like you got love for the community and you watch the community's back, and I have the same values, and you have a big platform. So, Joe, I really appreciate you giving me your platform to be able to let people know and warn people. So thank you so much, man. Much love. And I encourage everybody, man, be the change by practicing change.
Yeah, and be transparent and honest. Lesson here today, be transparent and honest, you know, with everything you do. So, all right, man, take it easy.
You too.
All right, see ya.